Hello everyone and welcome to our week 7 lab. We're going to be using JSON files in this to write some HTML into our web page. So you're seeing my view here because I haven't published it yet because I don't have the video walkthrough done. And so enjoy a little behind the curtains. But I'm going to start from the very beginning. We're going to walk through it and let's get her done. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and I'm going to grab my file. First thing I'm going to do, yeah, no, that's fine. I named it Chapter 2, or Chapter 7, so just ignore that, right? Cool. So I'm downloading it. Alright. The only thing I'm not going to show you is my lovely downloads folder because it's a mess and I don't want you guys to see that. So give me just a moment. I've downloaded my Chapter 7. I'm going to move it into... I'm just copying and pasting it into the file, the particular file that I want. Okay. There we go. Alright, there we go. Alright, so there we go. And then I'm going to extract it. So, 7-zip is free if you don't already have it. So if you've been using like WinZip or something else, if you're on a Windows computer, then 7-zip is free. I would highly recommend it. So I'm just going to go ahead and extract the files. It's going to pop up with this. And instead of what I normally do, which is just kind of drag it out and then rename it, this time I'm going to go ahead and rename it here. So we're going to do week 7_Baker and hit OK. And look, it's created this nice little file folder for me. Okay. So what I'm going to do is pop that over here and then pop my lab over there so that I can have them next to each other. Alright. So let's take a look at our folder. We've got project 2 here. Now this is from chapter 8 in your book. It is the second hands-on project at the end of the chapter. So we've got an HTML file that has the images, the style, or we've got the HTML file, we've got the images that go with it, we've got the CSS that goes with it, and then we've got a couple of JavaScript files. So this is our JSON file, and then this is our file that we're going to be working on. Okay, so we're going to look at it in browser here. So I've just double clicked on it. Chrome is my default browser. And basically what we're going to be doing is replacing this information that's in the card with the information from our JavaScript. Okay. Okay, so the things to note are that the images are contained within an article element. So thinking back to our lecture, the images are children or child elements of the article elements. The color blocks are span elements whose background colors are set via inline CSS. So that's within the HTML itself instead of separate property. With a hex code from the colors array in the JSON file. That's what we're going to end up with. Okay? So let's do a thing first. Let's take a look at here. Okay. Just go ahead and close that out. Let's take a look at what we've got. So this is what I mean by inline style. It's a style element in there that's explicitly stated this is what our background color is. And right now, all of this information is hard-coded in, but what we're going to be doing is replacing those with JavaScript. So think back to your lecture. This is going to be like an inner HTML thing, but we're using document write instead of like appending a child to it, right? Okay. So we've looked at our file. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my JavaScript file. Project to JavaScript here. Oh. Silly Megan. Okay, there we go. Edit it with Notepad. Oh no, it's blank. That's okay. We're going to add our code there. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to, so this was mentioned in last chapter. We're going to use the JSON.parse to create, to take the string data, so the text data from the JSON file, and make it into JavaScript that we can work with. All right. So I'm gonna hop back over here really quick and let's take a look at this. Apologies. Okay. So this is our JSON file. This is how JSON outputs. Okay. So the difference between, I don't know why it's highlighting everything like that, I'm sorry. But the difference between a JSON file and a JavaScript file is that your variables, your variable names also have the quotation marks around them, and JavaScript doesn't know what to do with that, right? So the first thing we need to do is turn this into something that we can use. And the way we do that is by using JSON parse. And it's exactly like it's written here. Okay? So I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to use constant because we are just grabbing the data. We are not going to end up changing the data. And constant's a little bit safer in terms of not actually modifying anything. And I'm going to name it photos. You could also name it like photo data or whatever. It doesn't really matter. I'm lazy, so I'm naming it one thing. And then we're going to set it to the JSON.parse. And we're going to pass through something, right? So we need to pass through a something. So I'm just going to say content. Okay. Oop. Don't need a 4 there. All right. So that's the first thing. So we're creating a variable. We're naming it photos. And we're going to use the parse method to pull in a file from somewhere. In this case, we're using the placeholder content. And turn it into JavaScript. Okay? The next thing we're going to do is write a loop that iterates, which just means it goes from one to the next, to the next, to the next, through the photos array, because that's how the JSON parses it, and calls a method output card, which you are going to create in the next step. Give me a second. We've got some... So fun fact, this right here is the HTML for non-breaking space. I had to do some editing in the source code. Boop. And it got passed through as text instead of the other thing. Alright. So, and we need it to... So we need to create a loop. So for... And then we need to create our iterator. So in general, I just grab the first letter of whatever my variable name is. Doesn't really matter what you name it. You could name it photo of photos. You could name it item in photos. The big things are let, whatever you want to call it, of photos. Those are the important bit. The let of, and then the name of our variable here. Okay? So we've created the loop, and then what do we need the loop to do? So write a loop that iterates and calls output card. These open and close parentheses mean that it's a method. Card. And then we want to pass a single photo object to output card. So since we've named it P, we're going to keep on with that. So if we had said let photo of photos, you would put photo there, right? Does that make sense? If you put item of photos, you would put item there. In this case, I'm just sticking with what I'm used to. Okay, and then don't forget, you need your semicolon. Okay? If you don't have this, it's going to give you an unexpected end of line error. Okay, so we are on to number 3 here. All right, number 3, create a function named output card. So output card, we know it's going to take a something, a photo, and it's going to generate markup for a single photo card. Okay? So let's do that first. And the way that I'm going to do that, as a web developer, you're going to get real good at copy pasting. This is what we need to copy over, right? So I right clicked on it. I'm going to go move to new instance. It's going to create a nice little window for me. And what I need to do here is we're going to use document write. So think about our DOM model. So we're affecting the document. We're going to do document.write. And there's a couple of ways that you can do this. So we're going to need an article in there. We need an image. We need a div with our caption, the title, the location, and then our colors, right? So let's see here. Photo card. Okay. Try not to get ahead of myself here, right? So the couple of ways that we can do this, we can kind of count out how many we need. So we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to count this as 1 for now. Yeah. And then the end of the div and the end of the article. So 8, 9. So I'm triple clicking, that highlights the whole line. I'm going to copy, Control C or right click C, Control V or right click paste. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now I have 9 document write statements with our lovely little quotation marks in between. Now what you can do is just, oh, nope, gotta hit the right thing. Go and grab each of our things and paste them in between. Or you can write them Whatever works for you. So the next thing after that is going to be an image. And we know we are going to need a source, but we're not sure what it is just yet. So let's just put a placeholder there. And then we're going to need an alt tag because all of your images should have an alt tag, but we're not sure what that's going to be yet, so we're going to put that there. And then we need to close our image tag. And we've already closed everything out. The next one is a standard thing, so we don't need to really worry about it. Div class caption. The only thing that we need to change, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and change these to single quotes in here, and then double quotes on the inside. Oop. 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 Okay. And let's just go ahead and do it on these. It's going to be a but. And then change those. Okay. Yeah, in general, if you're using something that might have another quote in it, use your single quotes. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to have an H2. Not an HT, an H2. It's going to contain something, right? We're not sure what it's going to be yet, but it's basically, we know it's our title, so I'm just going to put title in right there. H2. Golly, I'm really having trouble typing today. And then we're going to have a P tag that's going to create or have our location. And then we have to close it. And then an H3 that contains our colors. So I'm gonna do H3 and then colors, because this is not going to change, right? H3. Gotta close it. The next one I'm going to leave blank because we are going to not do that yet because that's going to be our span. And then we need to close out our div. So div. Nope, sorry. We need to close out our article. No, we need to close out our div and then close out our article. My brain has shut down. All right, there we go. So we've got that, and let's check in with our lab here. Okay, function. This function will call two other functions: output colors and construct colors. So we know we're going to need a function called output colors that's going to write our colors, and then we're going to need a function called construct colors. So for now, I'm just going to put output colors, and it's going to be passed a color, and then construct color, and it's going to also be passed a color. Okay. All right. So let's look at what each of these functions do, and then we can kind of figure out where they're going to go in our file. So we need to create, apologies, these are functions. To make a function, you have to say that it's a function. A function called output colors. Colors. It's going to create a color, or have a color pass through it. Alright, so what are we supposed to do? So output colors, that is pass the colors array for a single photo. It will loop through the colors and call construct color for each color. The string returned from construct color will be passed to document write. Okay. So what we need to do there is create a for loop. So that's what this means. It will loop through the colors and call construct color for each color. So let's break that down. So for, and then, like I said, just the first letter of whatever our thing that we're passing through of colors. You know, I keep calling it colors. Let's name it colors, because otherwise I'm going to mess myself up. And then what do we want to do in there? Well, we want to document write construct color of whatever that is at that color. So construct color. Wait, let's do this right. Document write construct color of C. Okay, so we're writing to the document whatever this is, this function is, at that time for that particular card. Make sense? Okay. And then we make sure we've closed everything out. So now we need to make a function called construct color that is passed a single color object. So let's do that. Get a new line. It's a function called construct color that is passed a single color. Okay. So we've done that. It will return a string. So a string is just text that for the markup of a single color, and it will also, well, let's do that first, right? Okay. So color. We want it to say, so we're thinking this through. It's also got to add in the style. So I'm going to create something called an element. Nope, can't do that. Tag. Element is already built in, so we can't use that. And we're going to set it to our markup. So what the markup means is just where we had it. Okay, this right here. Okay, so that kind of thing. So span. We're going to need a style, but we're going to figure out what that is. So I'm going to leave it blank for now. And then we need the name. So if we look back at our JSON file, where's my files? We need to get certain things from it. So this is the element that we're looking at right now. And again, I'm sorry, I don't know why it's highlighting the whole thing. I don't know. But from the colors, we're going to need the name, the hex code, and the luminous. So let me teach y'all something really cool. You know how last time how we had to write in, you know, the single tag and then our name and property, right? Because that's what this is. Our object is a color, and then the name is the property of it. And then do the plus sign, and then end or span, blah, 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 blah. There's a much easier way to do that JavaScript has built in, and it's pretty cool. So instead, what we're going to do is a $sign, and that lets it, the $sign and then open and close brackets, that lets it know that we're accessing a variable without having to do the plus sign and then the name and everything and then the plus sign. So it's less quote marks to keep track of. So we're still doing the color name. Okay? And then we close out our span because we got to close all our tags. Boop. And then end our quote mark there. Okay? Cool. So we'll finish up this function, but then I'm going to hop back up for a second. Because, hey, look, we have a title and we also have a location. So we can put those in to our document rights up here. But for now, just going to finish what we're doing. Okay, so it's also going to call construct style for the background and text color. Okay. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and create another variable called style. Generally best to name variables what makes sense. Name variables what they are. Construct style, and we're going to pass a color through it. Alright. And then we're going to use that to set our style for the background and text color, right? So what does that mean? Well, you know how we left this blank? This in between right here? That's where we're going to put it. Okay? So we're going to do the same thing we did with color.name, but with the style. So I'm going to do the $sign, and then my bracket, and then style, and then close my bracket. So now what we're doing is we're creating a style, a variable called tag that is going to return or going to output a span with a style of whatever construct style comes out with for that color and whatever that current color.name is. Now we've created the variable called tag, but in this case we actually need to return something because we didn't do document right. So otherwise we would just set the variable and just let it sit there. So we need to actually return tag. And all that means is that at the end of it, it's going to output whatever this variable is set to. And I forgot my semicolon there. Got to be careful, okay? Semicolon, 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 closed. Everything's closed. Okay. So, I think I'm missing some text. 70, but only like. Un momento, por favor. hands-on practice. Boop. No, that's just how the book ends it. Alright. I need to write my own book, y'all. Because that's ridiculous. Alright, so let's follow the instructions, and then we're going to go back and put in all of our stuff. Like the title and the location and everything. But let's get our functions out of the way. So the last thing we need to create is a function called construct style. And you can tell if you spelled it right if it like suggests it for you. It's going to be passed a single color object. Okay. Color. And it is going to return a string. So just like up here, the return keyword lets you know that we're going to return something at the end. And in general, you return a variable. So let's create a variable, and we're just gonna call it span style. Right? Span style. Since these are local variables, you could also just let it say, you know, let style. You can name it that too. But then we need it to output our lovely, let's see what it says, background and text color. Okay. So before we do that, we need to take note of this. The text color will only need to be specified if I'll change that typo. If the luminance property is set to less than 70. Otherwise, change the text color to white. Alright. So let's get our background color in there, because no matter what, we're going to set our background. So we needed to say background color, because we're writing CSS at this point. Remember, we're writing our style. And then we want to set it to one of the variables on here, or the properties on here. That's where we want to set it to our hex. So do you remember how we do that? We are going to add our $sign and our brackets. And we're going to set it to the color.hex. Okay? And that's all I'm going to do for now, since we're going to have to do an if-else statement for this, for the text color. Because otherwise we don't want to add anything to it, right? If it's fine the way it is, we don't want to change the text color. But if the text color needs to be changed, then let's do that. So we're going to write an if-else, well, just an if statement. Because it's not really, the default is fine. So if... And then we need to grab the property of luminance right here. Okay, so if color.lum, oh goodness, nope. Luminance. I'm just cutting and pasting that, right? And we want to make sure if it's less than 70. So less than sign 70. We have a couple here. This wood bark one, it's less than 70, so it'll do it. This one's less than 70. This one's less. So we have some ones that we can test it. So we're going to end it, and then what is it going to do? Well, let's look back at our instructions here. If it's less than 70, change the text color to white. So we need to append our lovely little span style here to contain the text color white if the luminance is less than 70. So the way that we do that is span style. You can either do it as equals span style plus color equals white, or it's so much easier to just do plus equals. That's saying take what's already there and add to it. And then color, because that's how we change our text color, and then white. Oh, you know what? We need our semicolon there and there. Because in our CSS, we need to end it with semicolons, right? Right. Okay. Cool. So we've got our span style. We're setting the background color to whatever the hex code of the color is. And then saying, hey, if the color luminance value, whatever that is less than 70, add on to the end that the text color should be white. And the way you do that is just color equals white. Okay. And then the last thing we need to do is, what are we returning? We are returning span style. All right. So now we've got our pieces. We need to fill it in. So I'm going to go back over here and take a look at this. Okay. So article is good. Image source. That needs to be, if we look at our photo data, it needs to be that with a little bit of this, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do image source is going to be images, and then we're going to do our handy dandy trick again. $, and then our brackets, and we're passing through the photo object this time, right? Not colors, so photo. And we need to know, what do we need to know from photo? We need to know the file name. Okay. Photo dot file name. Okay. And then for the alt tag, we just want to put the title. No, we want to put the description. You can put either. For this case, let's go ahead and do just the title. So we're going to do our trick again, $, and then our brackets. And in this case, we're going to do photo dot title, because that's this right here. Grab that. Okay, and then the caption, we need to put that same thing here. So I'm just going to grab it from here, copy it, and paste it. So now our H2 should say photo.title. And then our location is a little bit trickier because we have a city and then a country. So we need to build that because it's two separate things in here. We have a city and a country. So I'm going to take out location and let's get that started. So we want the city first. So we're going to do our $, in our brackets. And we want that to be photo.city, not site, city. And then we need a comma in there for grammar. And then the same kind of thing but for country. So photo.country. And then our ending brackets. Okay. Cool. So now we've got it to where it's going to grab our photo name, file name, put it in there. Grab our photo title, put that in there. And then grab our photo title and put it in the H2, which is right there. Grab our location and put it between the paragraph tags. We've already got colors, that doesn't change. Okay, so now we need to get it in there instead of document right, we need to get it to put output colors, right? We actually don't need construct color because it's called in here. So we're going to take away this document right, and instead we're going to put in our function. And instead of color here, we know we actually need to pass through the color of the photo. Colors of the photo. So instead of putting color, we're going to do photos, photo.colors. Okay? Alright. And then what that's going to do is that's going to call this, which will call this, which will call this, which will call this. Right? Oh, hey, guess who forgot a semicolon? That would be me, right? Gotta remember those semicolons. Alrighty. And then let's save. We haven't saved in a while. We should have saved a lot more often. Okay. Okay, just making sure that everything is okay there. It is looking okay. And then the last thing we need to do is call the script tag in our HTML, right? Alright, so the way that we do that, hold on just a minute, guys. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. So the last thing we need to do is add in our scripts, right? So we can actually take all of this and delete it. And then we're going to add in 2 script tags. So the way we do that is script and then source and then equals. And we're going to put those in just a minute. And then for script tags, you always add in that's lame. You gotta add in a type. There it goes. I was just trying to show you that. So there's different things that you can add in there, but the biggest one is type. So yes, type right there. So if it's not set, it can be set to JavaScript or MIME type, but in general it is best to go ahead and explicitly state it. So it's fine, we won't do it here. Close our script tag. So the first thing we got to do is read in our photo data.js, and it's located in our JS folder. So let's see our full data.js, and then we got to do another script tag, script source, close your script tag. There we go. Equals JS. And then this one is going to be the name of our file right here, which is CH08-PROJ02.js. Close that, and then close out our script tag. Alright, and then save. And then what's the last thing we're going to do? So this is what it looked like before, right? So let's take a look at it now. So we're going to do view, and then view file in Chrome. Alright, we have a slight problem. So let's see where I messed up. Good news is that our initial file is working because it's writing out the article, right? But is not understanding this part. So why is it not understanding that part? So let's do some troubleshooting here. So instead of doing what we had before, let's go ahead and add the plus sign. We're gonna do photo dot file name. We're gonna take a look at that. Aha. Alright. So for some reason, it is not liking our trick of using the dollar signs instead. Why is that? Huh. I will look into that, but for now, what we're gonna do is just go ahead and add those in the other way. So what I've done is I've added in our single quotes here, and then our photo.title, and then I'm going to actually just cut and paste that into our H2 there. That is so bizarre. Huh. I won't troubleshoot for y'all live on air. Same kind of thing. But we're just going to change out what the attribute is. So in this case, we are wanting photo.city. And then in this case, we are wanting photo.country. That should be fine. That should be fine. In this case, we're going to do style. And also going to do color dot name, and I will leave this up for a while so that y'all can see it. And then in this one, we want color dot hex. Let me get rid of my inspector window here. Let's save it. That's so bizarre. Oh, our photo.city and photo.country, we're missing something. Let's take a look at our JSON file. We're missing location. Photo.location.city and then photo.location.country. So let's try that. There we go. Okay, so I will look into why the $ brackets was not working, because there's absolutely no reason that it shouldn't. But for now, we have to do it the old way, which is our lovely plus signs and making sure we have all of our quotes in the right place. So for the first one, we've got photo.filename, photo.title, and then remember your location here, and location here, and then photo.colors. And then in this one, we're just using style, and then color name, and then color hex. And then one last thing, if we look at the inspector here, let's turn that off. So we've got our two scripts here, but then it actually wrote in all of the HTML. So that's in the lecture we talked about cross script attacks. This is why inner HTML can be dangerous for that, because it's actually writing it into your page. So I'm going to leave this up. Let me... Okay. So pause it here if you need to copy it down. And then we will pick it up again next week. Sorry for the troubleshooting while we were going, but that's just sometimes how it is with code. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.